Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is why blacks don't have their own. When I see the world, watch TV, the news, and I see the conditions that black people live under, I ask myself, why don't we have our own? Economically, we're last. When you look at the prison population, we make up 33%. 3 times the population that blacks make up in this country. They're incarcerating us 3 times our population. Nobody else can claim this. Black unemployment, 9%, which is the highest. Yet we spending $1.3 trillion into this economy annually, which is the most, and we have zero businesses or industries, period. Meanwhile, you have Republicans up in Washington right now sending death threats to other Republicans because 13 of them voted for the Build Back Better plan by Joe Biden over his infrastructure deal, sending death threats to each other. You got one Republican, Paul Gosar, he out of Arizona, I think it is, or Arkansas, one of the two. He's tweeting images, a cartoon of him killing Alexandria Cortez out of New York, the Democrat. And I'm looking at this. This is a two-party system that everybody live up under, and we're suffering the most out of them all. And again, I ask myself, why don't blacks have their own? And when you look at the blatant bigotry, here you have a white lawyer down there that's presiding over the Ahmaud Arbery case. He stands up and says he don't want no more black pastors coming into court to console the family. Talking about some Al Sharpton is enough. It's only so many black pastors you can have. How do you know how many black pastors this family have? How do you know each member of this family don't have their own church they go to? How do you feel that just one pastor should be enough for all of them? If blacks did have their own businesses and industries, that would strengthen us as a people. And if they did that, do you think they would be so cavalier in their bigotry and just saying the most racist, hateful things without no fear of recourse? This is why they do this, because we have no alternative. And if we had our own businesses and industries, do you think we'd be last economically? Do you think we could pay our people better than what we're being paid by them? I mean, it just makes me scratch my head. If we voted our interests, would we be 33% of the prison population? It's not hard. This is not hard for us to figure out, but yet 150 years beyond slavery, we still struggling the most out of everybody. So we come out of slavery last, and 150 years, we still at the bottom. I mean, this don't make no sense. If we had our own businesses and industries and spent 80% of the $1.3 trillion that we spend into their economy into our own, what would our unemployment rate be then? If we took our people and hired and built our own, and then hired the blacks that weren't employed, our unemployment rate in this country would be 0. I don't understand why no black civil rights leader is even talking about this. I don't even know why the black people aren't demanding this. If blacks politically position themselves between the Republicans which is their cannibalistic ways, and the Democrats who were just politically impotent. You know, we will be able to strengthen ourselves politically by being right in the middle, which will create a balance. You cannot have a table stand on two legs. And if you are able to balance it, just the slightest imbalance will tip it over. We can be the third leg that this political structure needs to stabilize this country just long enough for us to get our act together so we can go and position ourselves to govern over our own affairs and let these people do what they're going to do. It is absolutely beyond me why we are still latching on, because I look at it like this. White people came in here and they displaced the social structure that was in this country and put their own way in here and just moved everything else aside. And we see now that it just don't work. And it's not close to working. Like I said, you got Republicans up in Washington right now sending death threats to one another. And they still got their job. Try that at your workforce, workplace. Have you send death threats to your co-workers. See how long you have your job. This is ridiculous. You know, and not only if we position ourselves in between the Republicans and the Democrats, not only will it stabilize the political structure, it will stabilize this whole country. And like I say, and could do it just long enough for us to get ourselves together, get our acts together, and represent ourselves. And just this system is dying. Actually, it's dead. The only reason why it's still pumping now because they can just pump as much money into this economy as they want to, and the debt is uncapped. You can't be more in debt than this country is. If America was any other business, they would have shut the doors on this place long ago. You cannot have a country or a company that got debt 2 to 3 times what its annual gross is, and yet you still passing economic bills in the trillions of dollars. Where's the revenue coming from? Nobody's going to ask it because they're afraid of the answer. You can't do this. And we can't be attached to this. Let me conclude this video by saying this. The answer to our social conditions, our unity, our economics, our health, our politics, the laws that govern over us, all of this resides in our ability to come together and build our own. You know, there's no way that these people who we are taking our money to, they don't see what's going on in this country. But as long as they continue taking our money, they're going to sit back and watch us be last in everything and never bring up, you know, what we could do for ourselves. Because they have their own. Every Arab, every Chaldean, white person, they got their own business. They got their own economics. And they're still sucking the money out of our community. And they see the conditions that we live in. You see the conditions that we live in. Let a storm come, a fluctuation in the market. When you listen to all of the economic forecasts that's predicting doom and gloom, it's all weighed on the fact that you Negroes won't build your own. You hear the forecast. You hear them saying blacks' economy is going to be zero in like 50 years from now. Why aren't we building our own? You know, being last in this system. It's no shame in that, because we have no way of doing ourselves. But we cannot continue to be last by refusing to build for ourselves. Nobody else will do it. And when you see yourself last in everything, politically, economically, business, and don't do nothing, that equals compliance. When you see yourself last and everything, that's and you're not building your own, that's compliance. And if you're going to comply with the system that's got you last in everything, then you can't complain about how they treating you. It's just as simple as that. I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please share it. And if you like this content, consider subscribing to this channel. And this video, as will all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And I see you in my next message. Ashe.